So imagine this. You're a tiny, chaotic forest creature, and your only mission in life is to stop humans from stealing your mushrooms. That's the core idea behind my new game, Mushroom Mischief. Hey guys, it's from QC with Game Dev. Today I'm going to walk you through how I designed the core mechanics for the prototype of Mushroom Mischief and how they shaped the whole game's aesthetic. In terms of core mechanics, like I said, I'm really inspired by the Untitled Goose Game, so I really like the idea of just like being this little mischievous animal and just messing with people, right? There's just something really charming about that, and the other thing that I'm being inspired by is the theme of mushroom picking, right? So a combination of these two elements gave me a couple of options. So the main character I'm deciding is going to play as a small mischievous creature, and their objective will be to protect mushrooms in the forest from the mushroom pickers, right? So the concept is going to be that you're going to have a certain amount of time that you need to protect the mushrooms for. And if you successfully defend some amount of mushrooms until the time elapses, then you win. So from that, I know I have enemy AI walking around looking for mushrooms, and I also know that my player needs some way of preventing the enemy AI from collecting the mushrooms. So for my enemy AI, I decided for my first iteration what I'm going to do is allow the enemy to search for and collect the mushrooms. In addition, I want the enemy to be able to investigate distractions. This is what's going to allow the player to distract the enemy and prevent them from picking mushrooms. This leaves the door open in terms of what qualifies as a distraction, and I think this is where I'm going to find some depth in different gameplay styles. For the moment, I'm going to start by only giving the player some kind of squawk distraction ability. So basically the player is going to be able to squawk to the enemy and distract them that way, basically leading them away from the mushrooms, right? So already I have a basic loop of the player working against the enemy AI. The player is able to distract the enemy, and the enemy wins by collecting all the mushrooms. The player wins by preventing them from picking up all the mushrooms. So from here, I have some space to expand on some mechanisms to make the game a little bit more fun. In particular, I'm thinking about how I can use environmental hazards and the player's distraction to really add that element of mischief. In terms of the aesthetic, I really like the animated style of the Untitled Goose Game, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be a realistic objective for me as a solo dev, right? I really love the idea of controlling this mischievous little animal in the sort of 2.5D perspective, so I'm going to keep that and try to make the main player character some kind of little animal that maybe would belong in a forest if I can find that on the Unity Asset Store. I also really like how gentle the Untitled Goose Game feels. The characters in the story seem well-meaning and sweet. I want to also replicate this. I think I'm just going to inspire myself from the general idea of mushroom picking. So for instance, this would inform me with respect to like my setting. So I know I'm going to be, for instance, in a forest. For the forest, I'm thinking it's going to be like a classic European forest. Trees, rocks, flowers. I'm really just trying to think of the basics. So really, I know the vibe is going to be very nature-based, and I can start considering, for instance, things like my UI will probably be planks of wood or branches of a tree or leaves or something like this, right? My 3D scene is probably just going to be trees, some grass, some rocks, obviously some mushrooms. That's probably it for now. So after taking a look at the Unity Asset Store, I found the following wonderful assets, right? So this wonderful asset is completely free and has models and animations for 8 animals. It's definitely a good one. In terms of forest, this asset here has some awesome low poly nature assets. I really recommend it. It was really easy to use. In terms of characters, I don't know if you know this, but you can find models and animations for 3D characters for completely free on a site called Mixamo. It's a fantastic resource and I'm using it a lot in this project. So yeah, that's the definition of our objectives for our prototype. We just want to be able to move our player around, be able to squawk at the mushroom picker. For the mushroom picker, we need to make an AI for him that's basically just looking around for mushrooms and picking them up if he sees them. And if he gets distracted, he should walk in the direction of the distraction. Next time, I'm going to give the mushroom pickers some brains, and I'm going to show you guys how I built the enemy AI so they can actually hunt for mushrooms and fall for your tricks.